This is a Hyundai i30, a review of which you've watched on my channel more than a year ago. The difference is this one has a different engine, different color. Oh, and it's not a hatchback. This is an i30 Fastback, a liftback, if you like. It's got an extended falling roofline and a large boot lid. Extended falling roofline and spoiler incorporated in the boot lid make Hyundai i30 look, under certain angles, like a Mercedes GLC Coupe or a C Class Coupe. By the way, i30 Fastback is not a replacement for the Elantra. Elantra is made on a different platform than the i30. i30 Fastback is just another body style after hatchback and station wagon, something for clients looking for a reasonably priced, interesting looking car. Among cars available in Europe, i30 Fastback is probably most similar to another liftback, Honda Civic, which is between Elantra and Fastback in terms of size and has only slightly larger boot than i30 Fastback. Speaking of the boot, this one has 450 liters volume. This includes the space under the double floor. Now, in a lower trim i30 hatchback, there is no double floor, just 400 liters of more or less unrestricted cargo space. Here, between the mini spare and the top floor, there is a plastic container with some dividers. So if you need to carry larger items, it's best to chuck the two things out and cover the spare with maybe some cardboard. There are also two shopping bag hooks and a 12-volt socket. A few days ago, I was picking up my grandparents from their vacation. I myself was returning from a weekend getaway. With two medium-sized suitcases inside the boot, there was not much place left for my weekend duffel bag. In the back, i30 Fastback is almost identical to the hatchback. Despite falling roofline, headroom is still the same because the roof starts to drop behind the rear headrests. Legroom is the same as well. However, here we get an armrest and a ski hatch as well. Meanwhile, there are still no air vents or a 12-volt socket. In the front, the cockpit is well designed and logically laid out. Dials are easy to read, there is a place for your phone, a USB port, a 12-volt socket, storage, door pockets. Compared to the i30 I tested last year, this Fastback doesn't have a reversing camera. Radio doesn't have a touchscreen and you have to select options using radio memory station buttons. Information from parking sensors is displayed in the instrument cluster. In my Hyundai i30 hatchback review, I praised, among others. No, I did not praise the lane keeping assist. I'll just turn it off because otherwise it's going to beep all the way through the review. Anyway, I praised, among others, suspension and brakes. Now, the suspension in the Fastback has still very good damping, but it seems stiffer, which makes the car jumpy on bumpy roads. Perhaps Hyundai stiffened the suspension to compensate for extra weight, but I think they went overboard. As far as the brakes are concerned, in i30 hatchback, the brakes bit right from the top, so if you press the pedal halfway, you would probably be stopping like instantly. Here, if you press it halfway, nothing happens. I don't know, how is it possible that two very similar cars made a year after one another have so different characteristics? This test car is powered by a 140 horsepower 1.4 turbocharged petrol motor. I recently drove a Kia Ceed with the same engine. Ceed had a manual gearbox and Hyundai has a 7-speed double clutch transmission. However, I see this engine has a certain characteristic which is common for both cars. In the Kia review, I mentioned problems with getting fast off the line. The car would stall and the only way to deal with the problem was to ride the clutch. And here, let's imagine nothing is coming, so I'll just stop and imagine I'm at the crossing, I look left, I look right, there's a lorry very far there, I want to make a left turn, so I stopped. Auto stop and start is on now, so I turn the engine on and now I try to take off fast. Oh my god! Nothing nothing is happening for like a half a second or a second, which is quite disconcerting when you're taking off and there was a lorry and the lorry was like a mile away, and now all of a sudden it's very close, it's honking its horn, it's flashing its lights, and the driver is, well, probably saying something bad about your mother.
Once the car is on the move, there is no problem with reaction to the gas pedal. Sure, Hyundai i30 Fastback is not a speed demon, but as long as you maintain momentum, you're good to go on long journeys.
If it wasn't for the noise. When you're driving, the engine and the wind noise mask other vehicles. It's just loud inside. However, once you park, all of a sudden you hear people having conversations, cars going by, as if the doors or the windows were open. It's like sitting in a can made of very thin metal. But if you're not a taxi driver waiting for a customer, by the way, this car wouldn't really make a good taxi because there's not that much legroom in the back, you probably rarely spend much time in a parked car. On the road, i30 Fastback is unobtrusive to drive, even with 4 passengers and luggage. Okay, so it's not an executive saloon, of course, but then it doesn't cost 40 grand, like, let's say, Mazda 6. The only problem I have with this car, the only real problem, is visibility in the rearview mirror. Because of the falling roofline, the rear window is at an angle like this, so there might be a lot of glass, but it's on such a level that there's like a little thin slit in the back and you just can't see much.
Like Kia Ceed with this motor, also Hyundai i30 Fastback uses on average around 8 liters per 100 kilometers. My best result, extra urban, was 6.6, Hyundai promises 5.5. A bit of useless trivia, by the way. While in drive but stationary, for example at the lights, if you even start playing with the handbrake, the running lights turn off. You don't need to know it, but now you do. Hyundai i30 Fastback prices start at around 18,500 euro for a 1-liter turbo motor with a manual transmission. This car is in Poland-specific mid-spec, so a German equivalent would probably be a lower trim with some options for around 25,000 euro.
I like Hyundai i30 Fastback. Perhaps I'm getting old, or maybe I'm just tired of generic-looking hatchbacks. And what's your favorite body style? Let me know in the comment section below. Subscribe if you haven't, hit that bell icon to be up to date with all my latest reviews. And if your friends are looking for a new car, share this video with them. Perhaps they'll find this interesting. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.